Hello everyone and welcome to Bevins Bricks, and in this video I'm going to be giving you some lighting tips and tricks, specifically brick loot tips and tricks. And here's what I mean by that. For any of you that are familiar with brick loot lighting, you know their lights come with a predetermined stud 1x2 trans piece or whatever on one end, and then you have the large 1.25 millimeter plugs on the other end. And everybody always tells me, how can you get these to go through small spaces? How is it you can do this? How is it you can do that? How can you hide the wires? Well, today I'm going to show you that exact trick, like this example right here, because normally that is not something that you should see with that light that I just showed you. But I'm going to teach you how to do it right now. Before I get too in-depth and started with what I want to show you guys though, which is how to fish this wire through something as small as the little hole on the front of that brick, I want to explain a few things. First of all, there are two different styles of plugs that most of the manufacturers of lighting do. And I actually even have a poll posted right now in my community tabs asking everybody what's their favorite style plug. This little tiny plug right here, that's a 0.8 millimeter plug. This larger plug here, that is a 1.25 millimeter plug. And that is a large plug. This is the plug that brickloot uses. This is the plug that Bricks Max uses. Now I want to show you why most people, I've always been told in the past, prefer this little small plug. And quite simply, it's because even with something as small as this, you can just take it and shove it right through, no problem, and you can get it in there, and you can hide the wires easily. And I just want to point out that if I was to do a lighting system, this is probably the plug that I would be using, which is the 0.8 millimeter. But for this video, we are discussing specifically the 1.25 millimeter. And I want to show you how you are able to use this plug style with this type of lighting system and still be able to fish it through little tiny holes like that right there. Now, as you can see in this example right here, I used a little traffic light and I've already shoved one through. And just to prove to you that this is not an illusion and it does work, I want to plug this guy in to show you that it does illuminate. So there we have it. It's lit up, and then the plug end that's coming off of it, we can take that little guy and we can plug this into that. If I can get the holes lined up, there we go. And I can just continue on, which is what my favorite thing about all the Lynx lighting system is, because every light has an input and an output. And that's why I love brick loot so much, because the Lynx lighting system does make lighting up Lego MOCs extremely easy. But now here's what I want to show you. Here's the actual tip that I want to show you guys in this video. And I am trying to get my camera down as close as I can, because this is going to be a very, very, very small project that we're doing here. Now, as you can see, these ends have, and I want to try and get this in focus as much as possible, these little plastic tabs right here and here. Now, something else I want to point out is this plug is what you would call a male, because it goes inside of this plug, which is what we refer to as a female. And both of these plugs have that little tiny plastic clip that I'm talking about, that little clip that's right there. And that essentially is what actually holds these little metal pins inside that plug. So let me show you an example. If I want to fish some wire through that little hole right here, and before I go too much further, I do recommend getting a little set of little tweaking tools like this, little scrapers, if you will. I got these at Harbor Freight, and these to me are invaluable. They actually come in a set of 4, and I believe I only paid $1.99 for these. And I use these tools all the time when I'm messing around with lighting and other various projects. Anything that's small, even RC cars, these particular tools come in extremely handy. But anyway, let's get to the point of the video. Now, let's say I want to put this little plug end through that little hole. The first thing that I want to do is make sure you have some type of Sharpie. I don't care what color it is. You just want to be able to mark what wire goes on which side, because you want to keep the positive positive and you want to keep the negative negative. Now, as you can see in this example, I actually used my marker and marked it red. But it doesn't matter what color you use. And just for the sake of argument, I'm going to show you on here as well. Let's take this little plug, and all I do is I will separate the wires just a little bit. If I can get it apart here. There we go. Just so that way I know that the color is only going to go on one side of the wire. And then I will take my magic marker and then I will color that wire just a little bit, like so. So now we know that that's going to be, we're going to call that the negative, if you will. And now we're going to do the same thing to the plug itself. We're just going to put a little bit of black on that. And all this is for is just so that way when you go to put it back together, it doesn't get confused. You don't mix it up and the light is going to work. So now that we've marked it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I'm going to try and show you as best as I can, because I know it is very tiny and it's hard to show this. But I'm going to take this little tool that I have here, this little pick tool, and all I simply do is I will take it and kind of push it right in there and pop that up just a little bit. And then once you do that, you'll see that little metal piece pops right out. Now let's do it on the other one. And again, I want to point out that that is marked and that side of the plug is marked. That way I know how it goes back together. But anyway, now let's do the same thing to this one. And again, we just take our little tool, just kind of pop it down in there just a little bit. And this one's being a little bit more difficult. Get in there. It's a lot easier to do this when you're not trying to work through a camera, let me tell you. Did I get it that time? Let me pull it away for 1 second. Okay, I was able to pop that up just a little bit, and now you can see it comes out. Now, the thing I want to show you on these plugs, and this particular plug is it's actually funny because it's the male side, but technically the plug is actually a female if you look at it really closely. But if you look at these, and this is it's so tiny, it's getting hard to get this to focus. But if you look at these on the back side, not this front piece is what the other pin goes into. But on the back of this, there's a very, very, very tiny little nub. And that little nub is what grabs onto this little plug piece here. But anyway, now that I have that removed, let me show you how easy this is now. And again, this was a large plug. So let's show you how easy now I can fish this wire through this brick. You just quite simply take it, give it a little bit of a bend, and there you go. Now I physically have this light link system with this larger plug fished through the hole. Let me get the plug back on though, and I know it's, again, it is hard for me to show you guys on camera because it's hard for me to work through a camera, but I want to show you that piece, there we go, now it's focused better. That little piece, that little nub that you see right here on the back of this, that is what actually holds it against. And that doesn't want to focus. What holds it against that little pin that you see right here. And now again, we marked this black on one side, so I'm going to take the wire that we colored black, and with the big nub sticking down and those two little tabs, and I apologize if this is not super visible, but these two little tabs pointing up and that little piece pointing down, I'm going to take the black one first and push it back in there. And then what you want to do is just push that white piece back down in there. And now we're going to take the other side of this. And again, you want the nub, the big nub, to be pointing down. And I hope you can see that. That's pointing down with these little tabs pointing up. And we're going to take this one and then set that back in there like so. And then again, we want to push, now that we got that in there, we want to push down on those little white pieces. So now that plug won't come out. And just to show you that this light will actually work from doing all that, let's get the camera back just a little bit. Let's take our power supply here. And let's plug this guy in just to make sure it actually works. So this is the plug that we just messed with, and watch this. Ta-da, our light is lit. So now you can see how taking the Lynx lighting system from brickloot is quite easy and very possible to do. And I did not have to unsolder anything. I didn't have to cut any terminals. It's just simply, and again, I do recommend this little tool right here. There's actually a couple different sizes and a couple different shapes, but I always generally prefer to use the little hook one here. But that's all it is a matter of you need one of these little hook tools and you need a Sharpie. It works even better if you don't have old eyes like I do. Or if you're not stubborn like me and actually get yourself some bifocals, because a lot of little things like that would be a lot easier for me if I would just buckle down and get bifocals. I'm just not one of those people that is ready to claim a loss on my age yet and get the bifocals. But anyway, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope it shows you guys how it is possible to take the Bricks Lynx lighting system and actually fish it through very difficult areas, because I've had a lot of people tell me that they don't like the system because it's so hard to use that large plug. And I'll be the first to admit the Bricks Max plug does make things a lot easier. It's a lot easier to fish it through places and so on and so forth. But it is still just as easy to fish those plugs through similar sized holes. You just have to remove the white outer jacket and you can make it happen. But anyway, that's all for this video. So as always, thank you for coming to Bevins Bricks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share below. And hopefully we'll see you next time on Bevins Bricks.